guys. It's been a while, but I wanted to just kind of let you guys know what's been going on and fill you in on a few things that have happened since the last video that I made. And as the title might suggest, this is going to be my last video on here. There's a few reasons for that, but before I get into those reasons, I just wanted to explain that recently I've had a bit of a paradigm shift, and basically what I realized is that the way that I have been going about things is never going to allow me to overcome this fully. I can make great strides, but in order for me to fully overcome it, I really just need to stop playing this mental game with myself. And what I mean by that is, so I recently watched this YouTube video, and my first impulse when I looked at it was, basically the title said, "This is the last video you'll ever need to watch if you're trying to overcome this addiction." And my first impulse in my head was like, okay, let's see what this person has to say. But when I watched the video, it actually really helped something click in my head that I think really I needed to figure out. And I've had to figure this out the hard way a few times in the past couple of years, but it kind of just made that more apparent to me. And basically what the video said is that in order to overcome this, you have to stop playing the game. And kind of what it means, or what I mean by that, is counting the days, or basically just like constantly thinking about how, like, oh, I've made it such and such amount of days, or, you know, this is how long I have left before I've made it to my goal and stuff. And all of that sounds great on paper, but the problem with this approach is that you're only as good as that game, basically. So like, if your goal is to get to like 180 days or 90 days or whatever, great, you can probably do that if you discipline yourself. But what happens when you actually reach 180 days and you have reached that goal? And that's the kind of bridge that I've been trying to cross for a while, is that I've reached these goals that I wanted to reach, but I still feel kind of limited by them at the same time. So I guess what I've kind of realized is that every time I'm thinking about, you know, how I'm gonna not do that, or every time I'm, every time I'm basically like thinking about, oh, well, I've got to make sure I don't do this because it's going to cause me to slip up, or I've got to make sure I avoid caffeine because it's going to cause me to slip up. And the problem with that thinking is that it will make you slip up, because if you keep thinking like that, you're still playing the game, meaning like you're still basically trying to beat a game that can't be won. And the video that I watched basically says all of this, but maybe a little bit better than I'm saying right now. But the point of what I'm trying to say in this video is that, like, it's just not really helpful, I don't think, anymore for me to be making videos about this and like thinking about everything I need to do to not do it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna do those things, meaning I'm still gonna avoid scrolling on social media, I'm still going to be healthy, I'm still gonna work out and do all these things. But if I'm only doing it because I'm trying to avoid another thing, then it's not really solving anything, because I'm just thinking about avoiding that thing, and therefore I'm thinking about it still. So I basically am kind of ending this channel because I think I've said what I needed to say on here, and hopefully that's helped some of you. But I have, and I'm sure all of you guys have lives outside of this too, but I have a pretty busy life outside of this, and you know, this is not something I can afford to dedicate so much energy toward. I don't know how I'm trying to say that. I cannot afford to dedicate this much energy towards this. And I don't really think anybody, unless it's like your passion or something, I don't think that most people should be dedicating that much energy towards this. Like, if you are in the same state I was a few years ago, where like you're really struggling to like even overcome like a couple weeks or a week, then yeah, maybe you do need to go through that. But you have to kind of be like ready to make that paradigm shift in your head. And if you're not ready to make that shift, then you might not be ready to move on from this. And I think that's what I've needed to ask myself, and also maybe what you might need to ask yourself is, are you ready to move on from this? And if you say you're ready to move on from it, but you're still, you know, doing those things like scrolling on social media and doing all those things that you know are triggers for you, then you might not be ready to move on. Even though you might think you are, your actions are saying otherwise. So I think I am personally at a point where I am ready to kind of move on from this and move on with my life. So yeah, and like, I just want all of you who are watching to know that I'm not just ending this channel because I'm trying to be one of those people who's like, oh, like, I just don't want to put in the effort anymore. It's not anything like that. It's more that, you know, like I said, I've got a life to live, and I've got to move on from this. And you know, I hope that you guys reach that point too. I really do, because it's taxing, you know, it's very taxing to keep thinking about this, and even when you've made a lot of significant progress, like, as long as you're playing that game, you're gonna keep kind of like going in that same cycle over and over again, and it's never gonna come to an end unless you stop playing the game. And you know, it's something I'm still trying to work on myself, but you know, I have made great progress in the last few years. I was actually looking back at, you know, everything just one last time, and you know, I slipped up a lot less this year than I have like in any past like 4 or 5 years prior to this, and beyond that, I'm sure. I just wasn't really keeping track back then, but yeah, I mean, so while I've made this progress, I just think that it's good to acknowledge progress, but at the same time, I just yeah, I think I'm at a new chapter and kind of ready to just move on. So I feel like I'm kind of repeating that over and over again, but that really is kind of the theme of the video. But yeah, it'll probably be a minute before I do kind of stop posting on here, like, just meaning that I might deactivate my channel at a certain point, but I think that I am going to leave this up for a little bit if you guys do have comments or thoughts. But yeah, I wish you guys the best, and thanks for sticking with me for this long. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate all the advice over the years. I hope that my advice has helped you in some way, and I'll definitely miss hearing from you guys, but take care, and yeah, best of luck.